So, hello and welcome, everybody. We are looking forward to answering a wonderful question today. And the question is, what are your thoughts on meditation before bed? So, I'm going to ask Janita to answer this for us.
Hi, and meditation before bed. I think it is so important and relevant practice for us to incorporate in our lifestyle because what happens when we retire to bed, what we want to do is we want to like let go of the day's activities and the day's stresses and the day's you know, doings, I would say. And we want to like just come back to who we really are. Now, to just come back to who you really are, if you're just sitting and you let your mind wander, you can again start a whole day's episode again in your mind, playing the scenes from the morning till the evening again. And it's fine. But what we want to do now is we want to put them to rest and say, okay, it's done. The day is over now. Let me pick the good things out of it. And then let me now plan and prepare for tomorrow. And then I can have a good night's rest. But if I don't do this, and if I just leave it hanging, when I do go to sleep, I'm going to be pretty disturbed in my sleep. I think of late, the cases of insomnia, people having, the lack of good sound sleep is on the increase. And this is simply because we've allowed our mind, which is like a wild horse, to go in all sorts of directions. And we're not pulling the reins to say, okay, enough play now. And now it's time to rest. So it doesn't mean that our mind actually rests when we're sleeping, because the mind is part of the soul. And it's going to, I think we call that dreams. And you'll have all these different dreams occurring. You'll see different scenes, and they could be like the most weirdest scenes that will come to your mind, so topsy-turvy. Also, you'll be wondering, how can I be thinking these things? But it's just simply the mind processing everything that we've picked up throughout the day, be it through our eyes, through our mouth, what we've, tasted and what we've heard and smelt. And it's trying to process it, because during the day, we're not giving ourselves that time to do so. So when we take that time out to meditate before going to bed, we are now allowing a bit more of a calmer, relaxed, and more sort of positive, I would say. It's I think I could use the word positive here to kind of put us in that positive frame of mind rather than that jumpy state of mind. More calm state of mind is really the word I'm looking at, and so that you can have sound sleep. Also, when you do wake up the next morning, you'll find that when you meditate and go to bed, you will wake up feeling very, very peaceful. But if you don't, you will be up and you'll feel so exhausted, like you didn't even have any sleep. And I know that sometimes the days can be rough. I've had some days where there's just been one thing after the other, one event after the other. And you've reached that point where you've even gone beyond exhaustion. You're so exhausted that you can't even sleep, and you're trying to sleep and you're battling. I find that, I get out of bed at that time, and then I go and listen to a meditation commentary, and I allow myself to just start listening to those thoughts. So I'm not doing any thinking, and I start allowing myself to calm down and become more relaxed. And then I find that now I'm beginning to nod off. So that's a good sign, because it's bedtime anyway. And I can then go and have a good night's rest. So this is something that can help someone who is finding it very difficult to fall asleep. So yeah, coming back to the question, it is very, very important for us to practice meditation before going to bed. Meditation is something you can practice anytime, but before going to bed, it's like another practice that I do is that I have like a journal, and then I note things down there, and I kind of create like a it's sort of like a little letter. I wouldn't put it as a chart because it'll might seem, like, oh God, more work. But a little note. I write a little note to kind of highlight the key points that stood out for me in the day, and the negative ones that I feel I should work on the next day. And by doing that, I know that, okay, I've put it one side. I don't need to think about it now. And I will look at it the next day if the need calls for it. And so that's another practice that can help. And it's in its own way a different form of, I would say, meditation, because you sort of channeling your thoughts and bringing it out on paper, and so that your mind is at ease. So this is what I do, and just wanted to share with all of you. So Amita, do you have any other tips?
Yeah, I think definitely agree with you. Meditation before going to bed really does set yourself up for not just your sleep, but actually also for the next day coming ahead. And, when we, always say, like, when you wake up, watch what you're thinking. Also, before you go to bed, watch what you're thinking. Because if you're putting yourself down because maybe you had a fight with someone or had some kind of conflict or anything, then, and you didn't finish that off and what have you, you carry that with you, you bring it through to the next day, and you'll find that nothing has changed. The situation hasn't gone, your attitude hasn't changed, and it's going to repeat for another day again. And you don't want that to happen, because the more days you waste like that, the more days you're depriving yourself of happiness. And at the end of the day, we go to sleep to rest, to sort of go back to peace, to instill that restful state so that we can be happy and energized the next day to offer ourselves, for humanity. Whatever the case is, it's really important to actually take that time, whether it's, if you don't have time and you're just so exhausted, and sometimes some people fall asleep very easily, they just close their eyes and they fall asleep, and you get other people who, because they can shut down quite easily, you get other people who can spend 3 hours just trying to fall asleep. So whatever, it is for you, whether you just close your eyes and you do fall asleep, before you do close that eyes of yours, try and reflect, as Janita says, look at what you've done, the positives, the negatives, put a full stop to the negatives. Okay, happened. It was meant to be. Whatever. I played my part accurately, and it's what has happened now. But what I can do is think a positive thought within myself on how I'm going to, if a situation occurs again, how I can change that, and how I can actually make a difference within myself. When we give ourselves that attention, then you're actually releasing that tension, I would say, from you. And so your sleep will definitely be better. And then for those who take 3 hours to fall asleep, well, the best method is, yes, don't strain yourself within the bed and just like look at the darkness or what have you. Think the right thoughts. Start thinking. If you want to lie down and think the right thoughts so that you can fall asleep in the right method. But I find that often getting up, doing something good, like meditating or sitting or even reading a book, something positive, not, a book that has a lot of waste, rather something very positive, or write a letter to yourself, like Janita says, that, maybe write how wonderful you are, the qualities you have. I used to be the type who takes about, 3 hours to sleep or so. But then I often found that when I actually did something positive and more restful, or, talk to myself, because maybe I have no one else to talk to, and just got rid of all the thoughts that were coming in my mind, which was making me so active, that sort of then slowed down things. And now I'm able to, take, I fall asleep much easier, and I will naturally feel quite restful. So it is a suggestion to definitely meditate before you sleep. Take that time. You're worth it. And, it's a sense of self-respect in that way, to give yourself that moment just before you go to sleep.
Yeah, and I think I like what you said, that don't have, too much activity, like I would say stimulating activity. because you don't want the brain to be so overactive. You want to calm it down. So playing soft music in the background instead of listening to loud TV is also helpful. And reading positive books, listening even now, or watching something that's a bit more calming and, fills your soul with a bit more like compassion or love or peace is something that I would recommend that you fill your overactive mind at that point with. It's key to understand something here, and that is that the environment around us is very stimulating. And I'm not talking about the environment in your home only, but I'm talking about the world in general. And so everyone is like on the go, go, go. And so that is exactly what's happening. And if you're like more sensitive, you will receive that energy without knowing where it's coming from, and then question that I can't understand why I can't sleep today, and why I'm having this difficulty. And so we need to shut that out. And so meditation is a tool that you can use to help you do that. I know some people are sensitive to sound, sensitive to light. And so again, use those aids that are there to help, cover your eyes with the mask, plug your ears, and sleep. Train yourself. Don't do it for one day and not the other. So again, repeat the action and train yourself so that the mind starts understanding and realizing. One other thing that I did find was also helpful for me is that when I go to sleep and let's say the mind has a bit of chitter chatter going on, I like really literally turn my mind inward and as if I'm staring at my forehead from inside. And I actually practice that as if I'm staring at my forehead from inside. And when I start doing that, I'm narrowing down the focus. And I find that now I don't have that many thoughts and I'm able to then sleep much quicker.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, when I can imagine how that is true, because when you look at yourself, then all of a sudden all that expansion goes back to like the point, the essence, and you sort of have, oh, well, I have nothing to think about anymore, and well, I can rest now. So that's very interesting.
What I try to do is bring that point, like the star that I am, or something that's a little bit different, and I think that really helps. So it helps me when I do that. So I think try it out if you're having a bit of a challenge in trying to go to bed at night, even after doing your meditation. But be consistent in your practice, that you do it every day, that you'll find after, like we've spoken of before, 21 days and continued practice after 3 months, it will become such an instilled way of you wanting to go to bed now that even you'll crave the meditation if you haven't done it when you go put your head on that pillow. So I recommend and I definitely advise doing meditation before you go to bed, and try not to go to bed too late. I would really say try to be in bed latest by 11, although I prefer 10. But if you can't, it's fine. But don't try and push or burn the midnight oil or whatever they call it till, the next morning, because you'll find that 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, that's when you actually just knock out. And you've like kind of lost the whole night. So yeah, a little bit shift in your lifestyle there, add meditation in and see how it works for you. Take a deep breath in and turn your attention inwards. And for this particular meditation, I'd like you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and try and look at the screen of your mind as if you are inside your head and you're looking out. Your eyes are shut, so there's no light inside. But as you focus on your breath in and out, you find yourself relaxing even more. with every relaxation experience, you tune in or you zoom in to the center of your forehead, trying to look at the screen of the mind. Imagine a tiny star radiating in the center of this huge space of darkness within your head. It's so soothing, warm, calming. It brings a sense of inner stillness. Allowing you to dive deep into a silence where you don't need to think anymore. Maybe you'll experience a slight throbbing sensation. That's okay. Continue to enjoy this inner calm within the space of your head. Surrender and let go. Release any tightness within the body. And allow the chair or the bed or wherever you're seated to hold the strain of the body as you feel yourself light as a feather, floating. No pull of thoughts, no pull of any activity. Just an inner silence, an inner stillness, completely tranquil, at total peace. Use this as a way to help you prepare yourself to go into a night's sleep, sound sleep. Where when you wake up, it will be a new day, new energy, and a new way of seeing things. And when you feel ready, you can bring your attention back to where you're at this moment. Recharged, refreshed, and revitalized. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So thank you for this lovely meditation. I am sure we can all feel the calmness and the peace that we all want to feel all the time. And we welcome you all for your questions. And we're really appreciating churning these questions and talking to you about them. So definitely keep them coming through. And see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.